Have all of the cardiac comebacks gotten to you yet? Well, the Bears put us in another one of those today, taking down the New York Giants, coming from behind 24-20 here in week number 10. And boy, oh boy, was it a good one. 6-3 now, the Bears stand right in the thick of things in the NFC North and the NFC playoff picture. Welcome on into the Bear Report Rapid Recap. I'm Steven Johnson. He is Zack Pearson. And Zack, another crazy game. I think a lot of Bears fans were ready to throw in the towel really towards the end of the game, really until there were about 6 minutes left, and then all hell breaks loose, and the Bears somehow find a will to win once again when things don't necessarily go correct for them leading up to those final minutes.
Yeah, man, it was pretty bad all three phases until that final 5-ish minutes where they were down 20-10. The offense really was moving the football, but then would get stuck. The game plan was obviously to throw the football. There was 6 or 7 drops. The defense couldn't stop Jackson Dart. They were bad in coverage. They were bad in the RPOs. And it looked like they were going to have a tough loss against, a Giants team that I think is better than their record, but, they've been hurt and they don't really have, Cam Scatterboo. They don't have Malik Neighbors, banged up in the secondary. But, man, when it came time to go win the game, the Bears offense, Caleb Williams, went down and they won the game. And, hey, you're 6-3. You're right there in the NFC playoff picture. I think they're number 7 seed right now if it were to end today. And who knows?
Isn't that wild? 6-3 and you're a 7 seed.
And if Green Bay loses tomorrow, they'll still only have 5 wins. The Lions, what are they at now? 6 wins, I think. They're 6-3.
Yeah, they're 6-3 as well.
They obviously have the tiebreaker, but who would have thought the Bears 6-3 at this point? With 2 crazy comeback wins in a row and 4 comeback wins overall this season. So, yeah, hats off to Caleb Williams and the offense. When they needed it, they went out and got it. And that's really, in a game like that, it's really all you can ask for at the end.
Yeah, again, the thing that we've heard so many times this season is they need to win games because of Caleb, not because of the run game, not because of the defensive turnovers, because of Caleb. And today, I think it's safe to say we finally got that out of Caleb Williams, where it was his intuition that really got things moving. Shockingly with his legs more than anything else. Looking at the final stat line for him, 20 of 36 through the air for 220 yards, 1 touchdown. Again, the key, no interceptions. Once again, he continues. No sacks. And I tell you, there could have at least been 3, if not more, that he somehow managed to spin his way out of between Kayvon Thibodeau, who at least had 2 tries to bring him down, and Brian Burns on another. And it is wild what he was able to do in extending plays today against that defensive front, which has some pretty good pass rushing names on it.
Yeah, I mean, that Giants front is pretty good. Kayvon Thibodeau, Abdul Carter, Brian Burns, guys like that. The Bears offensive line, Darnell Wright played a hell of a game. I think up, in the interior they played. I think they have a couple issues on the left side with the left tackle in Theo Benedict. It's hard for me seeing him being the left tackle of the future, getting blown up a couple times, especially down the stretch. But yeah, man, 0 turnovers, 0 sacks. You're down 10 with 4 minutes left. You have to go and get it. And that's what they did. And coming up clutch with those plays, a third down play to Colston Loveland in that fourth quarter, you watch Darnell Wright just absolutely put Brian Burns in a spin cycle and put him on his ass. And then Caleb extends the play and finds Colston Loveland, who, didn't get going until the second half. But it was sloppy. And I was a little shocked because I thought with the conditions, it was cold, little flurry, snow, kind of maybe a little slick out there. I thought they'd run the ball a lot more. They came out throwing, man. Like it was a weird game. And even the Bears were up 7-0, I felt like, okay, they got to stop. They could run away with this, but it was honestly the complete opposite. The Giants tied it and then essentially started to run away with it before Dart got hurt. And once Russell Wilson came in, I mean, that just totally flipped the game because he is stinky.
If you had any concern over whether or not Russell Wilson had anything left in the tank, I think today kind of solved that for a lot of people. Just not good. And Dennis Allen knew exactly what to do, bringing the house on specific calls. The third down all-out blitz was a genius move that set up that botched punt that set the Bears up for fantastic field position for that game-winning touchdown drive. And I tell you, it just seemed to all fall into place. And again, the thing we continue to hear is you shouldn't apologize for winning in the NFL. Things did have to go a certain way for the Bears to come out with a victory today. Again, the Jackson Dart thing, and then just some other things that just fell into place at the perfect time. Talking about that Caleb Williams passing line on the ground, DeAndre Swift, 13 carries for 80 yards in his return. Caleb Williams, 8 carries for 63 yards, including 2 key plays, one down to the 1-yard line, and then that game-winning touchdown. Again, just doing what he needed to do. Kyle Monangai continuing his hard running, 7 carries for 28 yards. The funny thing about the receiving game, Rome Odunze being the first Bear targeted today after all the commotion from his father on social media about how he needs to be with a team that actually targets him, finishes with 6 receptions for 86 yards and a touchdown.
Shocker.
Yeah, Colston Loveland not targeted in the first half, but finishes with 4 catches for 55 yards, including some big ones down the stretch, like you mentioned. Luther Burden having to get involved a little bit more, thanks to DJ Moore getting injured early on in the first half there. He finished with 3 catches for 51 yards. DeAndre Swift, 5 catches for 18. And then another key one here that I think we got to talk about whether or not it's time to start moving on in the offense. Olamide Zaccheaus, 1 catch, 5 yards, 4 targets. One of those targets being a clear touchdown that was not caught. And I wish I could say that was the only mess up by Zaccheaus today, but it was not. He had 3 drops alone today, which is inexcusable. The Bears receivers overall today, inexcusable with the drops. 6 drops by wide receivers today in key situations. Rome Odunze, one off of his hands, Zaccheaus with a few, DJ Moore with 1. It just did not come together for the Bears pass catchers today, which is bizarre because we have not seen that at all this season to this degree.
I mean, what was it? Kevin Fishbane had a stat. It was 6 drops today per Pro Football Focus, and it's the most charted in a game so far this season. And that's the initial watch of the game. So there could be more. I thought the DJ one throw was fantastic. 4th down, 4th and 4, throw was fantastic. The end zone probably could have been half yard, in. DJ wasn't, he even dropped it, he still wasn't getting his feet down. But yeah, man, Zaccheaus had one on 3rd down. Swift, I think, had one on the 4th down. Zaccheaus had another. Rome, the deep ball to Rome probably could have been a little bit, better throw, but Rome got there and he got his hands on it. So yeah, it just looked like everything was going downhill for them, man. It was frustrating to watch, and those drops were just like icing on the cake. It was just every time they needed a big play, just a drop. And you're like, what more can Caleb Williams do? And I think at one point, I looked and Caleb Williams had 10 incompletions and 5 of them were drops. So it's like that hurts the completion percentage, that kills drives. Even though they played a pretty solid game penalty-wise, I thought. But then you had the drops, which kill drives. Then you had the drops that were kind of replacing the penalties in terms of killing drives.
Yeah, running down, what they were able to do from a penalty side. 3 penalties for 25 yards. That's all they had today. They have continued to get better. The Giants had 10 penalties for 69 yards. And so, there you go. Another opportunity for them to improve on things that they clearly were struggling with. And I mean, the same thing even goes with, they move forward in certain areas, but they don't necessarily move forward in others. Third down today, not great. 3 of 11 on third down, which
Fourth down
is
too.
kind of shocking. Yeah, fourth down, they went for it a lot today. They were
Yeah.
not willing to let anything happen with the kicking game in that win today, which was funny because towards the end of the game, those flags were not moving at the top of those poles.
Yeah, it was weird because I was watching it like pregame, and Santos went out and did his routine. He kicked it to the south end zone and kicked it to the north end zone from each marker that they had that they wanted to kick from. And he missed one or two in the south. Then he went to the north and missed like two in a row, and one was short right from like 53. But like you'd watch and you'd try to get like a tell on which way the wind was blowing. You'd look at the north end zone and it was blowing in, and then you look at the south end zone at the same time and it was blowing in. And you're like, what? I mean, this is like impossible. You know what I mean? Like it was so weird, the swirling winds down there. And then I looked at the first offensive drive when they passed up the 47-yarder, I think it was, or 50-yarder.
Yes.
I looked in the south and the flags were going, left. And then you look at the north end zone, the flags aren't even moving. And you're like, what's going on here? So yeah, they were not, I'd be curious. I didn't see Cairo in the locker room. I wanted to ask him what his range was and how they determined it. I'll ask him Wednesday, but I was curious because, I mean, it felt like it was inside 40, 45, probably 45 to 40 was his range because of the wind.
I get the wind was significant, but it's the question that continues to come up about the kicking game is, does he just have the legs still to be considered a reliable kicker in this league? Because it's not going to get easier regardless of the wind. The colder it's going to get in Chicago if this team is going to compete down the stretch. It's not. And it makes you wonder, you have a guy that showed that he is competent and able to get the job done in Jake Moody. I don't know if there's still that fear because of what happened in San Francisco, where he's had his struggles with some consistency and missing key kicks and performing under pressure. But at a certain point, you have to say, hey, this is a problem for us. What do we do to fix it? Because it doesn't seem like there's a lot of trust right now.
I don't know. I the only thing with Moody is, man, 6 of 12 from 50 plus in his career. It's not like,
it's not good either.
It's not very good either. So I don't know. The kicking was interesting to watch today, especially in pregame. But like you said, do you trust them over 50 in these conditions? I mean, it's hard, and I think the obvious answer today was no, because they passed up on a 47-yarder, they passed up on a 50-yarder. But yeah, to go back to the point we originally had was with Zacchaeus, and I think that brings up, when does Burden start? I think you got to go to him now. Like that play at a 27-yarder, that deep stop route where he acted like he was going deep, stopped on a dime, the ball was there. I mean, and then to get 6-7 extra yards fighting. I mean, that kid with the ball in his hands is very dangerous. And I think he could be a legit weapon. I think in the next 2 to 3 years, you might be talking about him being wide receiver one on this team with Roma Dunze. And I think you got to get him involved more and more as the games go on. Now's the time that he needs and like starting, I don't know, starting is tough because they use so many different personnel packages, and like Cole Kmet can be the first tight end on the field doesn't mean he's the quote unquote starter over Colson Loveland. So there's a lot that they could do with these packages. But yeah, I think you got to see Burden's target share definitely go up.
Absolutely. And again, this is somebody that a year ago was talked about as a top 5 pick for the 2025 NFL draft. Didn't have the greatest last year at Missouri. Things didn't move his way. He falls. He was considered a fringe first round pick, falls to the second. The Bears gladly take the value. And a guy that projects a lot like a DJ Moore, the after the catch skills, the route running skills, able to do things in space. And we're seeing that. We're getting the tastes every single week. And at a point, you have to say, how much more do we need to see to really get this fully unlocked? And I feel like we almost saw the same thing last week with Colson Loveland, which is why it was shocking he wasn't involved as much as he was early on in the game today. And it's like a light bulb went off at halftime. And it's like, oh, yeah, we got this guy. He did really good for us last week and won NFC Offensive Player of the Week. And lo and behold, he comes out and gets 55 receiving yards. So it's another way to just get things moving in the right direction. It's just tap into the potential. We're seeing it. We're seeing the glimpses. It's all coming together. It needs to stick, and it hasn't stuck yet.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like I said, there's a lot. There's one football, which is tough. I hate saying that, but yeah, we got it. You got to go. We saw them go to Monangai early. Like Swift got the first opening drive, and then Monangai came in and got his reps. And Ben Johnson said during the week, we'll go with the hot hand. I can see us doing that. And Monangai, I believe, was on the field in the fourth quarter in key times. But now you have to start to see that with Colson Loveland. You have to start seeing that with Luther Burden. You go in and your top four pass catchers are Rome Odunze, DJ Moore, Colson Loveland, and Luther Burden. That's pretty damn solid because you still have Cole Kmet back there as well behind them and Zacchaeus behind him as well. But yeah, I would try to get these guys more involved. We'll have to see. But it kind of, to me, it feels like Ben Johnson tries to make a statement when something happens. Like he said, we're going to get Luther Burden involved against or Colson Loveland involved against the Cowboys, and Loveland has the first two targets of the game. And then the whole Rome Odunze's dad, and Rome's got the first, target or first two out of the three targets in the game. So yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, Ben hasn't lied. He's told us straight up what exactly he's going to do at times. And I believe, they have probably a plan for the development of Luther Burden and Colson Loveland. And I think that we see Colson Loveland being, the number 10 overall pick. And we're looking he should be more productive, but he could very well just be right on where their schedule is in terms of how they want, to bring him along and develop him. We just don't know that. But I think we'll see an uptick, especially you got some tough divisional games coming up. You got some tough, Philadelphia and Pittsburgh as well. So you got to get your playmakers more involved.
Absolutely. And for a game that was seen as a must win heading into that tough stretch, obviously things not going as smoothly as I think anybody anticipated them to go today. But a win is a win in that regard. And now coming back to get the revenge potentially against the Minnesota Vikings next week. That's a big thing, especially with the Vikings team coming off of another loss to the Baltimore Ravens today and sitting somehow at the bottom of the division in a very, very tight division as it stands right now. I believe, what is it? So the Vikings are 4-5. They are at 4-5. So they're 2 games back right now, but still a very potent team that is able to put it together at a moment's notice. And for a lot of today, we're leading that game. And so now you have to say, okay, we got our licks in. We came out with the victory when things weren't looking too great, and it was against a team that was clearly struggling, had to go to a backup quarterback. And now how can we fix what was broken today and make sure that we're, staying ahead of the game for next week? And on the flip side, on what the offense was able to do today, we got to talk about the defense, because the defense left a lot to be desired. And it has me, I'd imagine it has you, and it has millions of other Bears fans wondering how the hell they're going to stop anybody down this stretch of dealing with the Vikings, the Steelers, the Eagles, and all of these teams that can throw the ball when they need to throw it.
Dude, I don't know, man. Like you had Joe Flacco throw for 407 on you last week. You had Jackson Dart 242 in about 3 quarters.
199.5.
Yeah, I mean it's just, I don't know. It's bad because you're looking at it and you're like, who's gonna cut? Like, who do you have? I mean, until Jalen Johnson gets healthy and Kyler Gordon gets healthy. I mean, you're relying on Tyreek Stevenson, who, he had that hot stretch of 3 to 4 games where he was great, and now recently,
He's lost.
Yeah, he's lost, but you're going up against T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. I think you get a little bit of a pass because they're beating a lot of guys. But then you go up against Darius Slayton and Wan'Dale Robinson, and honestly, dude, I couldn't even tell you who their third and fourth wide receiver honestly is. You don't get a pass because Darius Slayton was absolutely cooking them. In that first half before he went out with an injury. He had plays 38 and 31 back to back on one drive that led the Giants down the field, and he made that great one-handed catch. But you have Nashawn Wright dropping 2 interceptions, one in the end zone that would have prevented some points. If it wasn't for Jaquan Brisker's heads-up play on 4th down, you'd probably have another Jackson Dart touchdown. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, really the only thing I feel good about in that secondary is the 2 safeties and C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Without him, man, like the Bears secondary is just – their defensive backs are lost. And, up front, they're getting some pass rush to start the game. But after that, as the game went on, they were struggling a little bit. And, that was also – I hated that roughing the passer call. Like, I don't know what
are they supposed to do?
I know. And I get it. I get the rules. You can't touch him in the head. And I see people arguing, don't hit him in the head. But Dart is turning around as he's getting sacked. And what you're supposed to ask an athlete to stop full speed. Like, it's stupid. I don't know.
You're penalizing the defender for the quarterback not properly putting his chin strap on, making his helmet easy to remove. And it was already coming off when it was going to the ground. And it was the force of the tackle as he was going to the ground that took it off, to which then the flag was thrown.
After.
And that's where my concern is, because it wasn't the only game where we saw something like this today. The Vikings-Ravens game had an egregious roughing the passer penalty where Lamar Jackson was sacked to the ground, just driven into the ground. It was a clean play, and for whatever reason, it was called roughing the passer. Didn't hit his helmet, didn't go low, just caught him right in the chest, took him to the ground. It has reached a point where the league needs to figure out where they stand, because it is getting ridiculous how much this league is protecting quarterbacks and the inconsistency of it as well. I'm going to bring up this play too, because I think it is ridiculous that this was called an accident, more or less. With Caleb Williams sliding out to the right and getting an errant knee to the back of his helmet. You can't tell me that was, oops, I didn't mean to do that. I mean, come on. Like, contact to the helmet in that situation where you give it up is contact to the helmet.
Yeah,
you need to be consistent, and you need to call it.
If you're going to call hitting the head of the quarterback when he's in a pocket, you have to call it sliding, which is, it's like you said, it just makes no sense to me. But that was a big penalty. But I mean, a lot of bad in this Bears defense today. Noah Sewell really struggling. That play, that missed tackle on 3rd and 1 would have been a tackle for loss. They would have got off the field on 4th down. And you saw Devin Singletary go about 40 yards down the field because of a missed tackle. Secondary, really tough coverage. But, they got to fix something. I don't know what Dennis Allen's going to do. I think he's found something with C.J. Gardner-Johnson blitzing. But eventually teams are going to kind of catch on to that. And it's not going to be right now. It's almost like a guaranteed sack or guaranteed pressure when he blitzes off the edge like that. Teams are going to figure that out, and they're going to see that on tape, and it's not going to be a guarantee or anything close. So, I mean, I don't know what else they can do. I guess, you wait till Kyler Gordon comes back, but it's no guarantee he comes back in week 12. We haven't heard anything from him.
Right, and that's the struggle, is he has one more week he has to miss on IR. So he's missed 3 games thus far, but what CJ Gardner-Johnson has been able to do, he actually led the team in tackles today with 9 tackles and those 2 sacks. And we were talking about this before the show. CJ Gardner-Johnson, he has 3 sacks in 2 weeks. That is good for the 3rd most sacks on this Bears defense, and he's played 2 games. That is nuts. He is behind Montez Sweat, and he is behind Gervon Dexter Sr. That is it. Nobody else. Like, it just blows my mind that we talk about the pass rush and being able to get pressure, yet this guy that you picked up off the street and essentially plugged into a role because you're missing your top 2 corners, and Lord knows you're going to deal with another injury at any point, that you're relying on this guy, and frankly is looking like one of the best free agent pickups that Ryan Poles has had in probably his entire tenure, the way that he has impacted the games for the Bears these last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and you picked him up because you watched Nick McLeod play in the slot, and it was just really, really bad in those injuries. And Josh Blackwell's hurt, and he's a key special teams guy. But yeah, I mean, Grady Jarrett's really struggled. You're not going to get a lot from Andrew Billings in terms of sacks. You're going to get run stuffs. Really, it's been Montez Sweat up front that's really dominated lately. Getting a lot of pressures and kind of making his presence known, getting another sack and a half today, I think it was. Gervon Dexter did get half a sack or 2, I believe. But yeah, other than that, man, they spent a lot of money in that defensive line. And, I know Dials is out for the year, and now, Austin Booker's making some plays, but he's got to get better in the run because they're going right at him in the run game. So yeah, I mean, for the big Ryan Poles hit, I mean, you can look at free agency and say Grady Jarrett and Dio have been big misses. And, I feel like, I don't want to get too off topic, but going into next season, you still have a need for an edge rusher and a left tackle. And we could have said that for the last 3 to 4 off seasons. Like, they have not solved that at all.
No, they haven't. And we talk about the rest of this defensive front. You mentioned Austin Booker, 4 tackles today. Grady Jarrett, 4 tackles. The first time you really hear his name on the broadcast, it's a defensive holding that I'm still trying to decipher as to how it was a defensive holding.
What's he supposed to do?
I don't know. Again, it's this inconsistency where you look and you say, did they call the wrong number? Was it somebody else? Like, where are we going?
Did you see a Giants player, number 88, who is inactive, hurt? Someone, I forgot what play it was, but the refs called the penalty on number 88, and he tweeted, he's like, I'm at home on the couch. How did I get a penalty? That was pretty good. I just threw that in there. But yeah, I know some of those calls were just, my goodness. And then the legal hands to the face of that they called on the Giants to extend the Bears drive was also like, what the hell are we doing here? Like, this is just, it's crazy.
It's one of those tick for tack. I think you had to, just get the call back from a bad call. But Joe Tryon-Shoyinka played quite a bit today. He just had 1 tackle showing up on the stat sheet there. And really, that's about the extent. Andrew Billings, he had 2 tackles for loss and 4 solo tackles. And then, Gervon Dexter had 4 tackles in addition to that half sack and 1 QB hit. So, again, it's not a ton. It's not like they set the world on fire and we're doing things. And now, looking ahead, it's going up against teams that have a little bit more substance to what the Bears defense is going to be facing. Like next week, it's Justin Jefferson, it's Jordan Addison, it's TJ Hawkinson. You're going to have to do it without TJ Edwards again, which obviously we saw today was a significant struggle. Yeah. And then you have a running game with Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason and a mobile quarterback in JJ McCarthy, who has been willing to take off at a moment's notice. And we saw today what Jackson Dart was able to do when he took off with the ball. It was not good. The Bears did not have an answer to that. And now it is against a team that is fully loaded when it comes to their offensive weapons. And that scares the living daylights out of me, especially on the road in a hostile place like Minnesota.
Yeah, defense is going to have to play, man, because, you can only, the offense is struggled a little bit, then it got it where it counted. But yeah, defense is going to have to show up. I did want to talk about the Caleb Williams end because I feel like he's a lightning rod. He was not helped out by his receivers. I don't think he was as bad as everyone was saying he was today. I maybe one or two throws where I'm like, okay, a little too much zip or something on it. But dude, listen to this. 6 career fourth quarter comebacks and has now led 5 game-winning drives in his career. And 4 of them are this year. 4 of them are this year. Like, they came back, beat the Raiders, came back and beat the Commanders, came back and beat the Bengals, came back and beat the Giants. And the Giants under 4 minutes down 10 against the Bengals. What was it? Under 3 minutes, they gave up the lead and had a chance to go down. And was it or under 2 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, under 2 minutes, they went down the field and scored against the Raiders as well. Like, yeah, I think like the whole number 1 pick, the whole generational talent, I think just the national audience and the national media that are just so fixated on, CPOE plus, like the completion percentage over expected plus, and the EPA and all the stats you see on Twitter, and it's bad. But like, you watch the game and it's like, to me, it doesn't feel as bad. Like, there are moments where you're like, okay, like, don't do that again. Like, get rid of the football. But dude, that dude in the fourth quarter was absolute nails. Like, absolutely. He was hobbling around. He got hit a bunch. He scrambled, took off, made plays in the fourth quarter, exhausted. And I'll say this, dude. That locker room absolutely believes in him. They never feel like they're out of a game. You could feel it in there. Like, they're literally telling me, yeah, we know he can do this. We know he's the guy. We know we've seen this before. And it's just, again, it comes with the territory of being number 1, but he's a lightning rod. And I get the Drake May stuff, which it's fine. Like, it's going to happen when you're number 1 overall pick. But Caleb Williams straight up went out there and won them that game in the fourth quarter. Like that, without him out, they don't win. How many times have we seen Bears quarterbacks struggle to do any of that stuff? It's crazy. I feel like we just can't.
I can't count the number of times we've seen that. That's the problem. It is
maybe Jay Cutler.
It is. Jay Cutler is the last time in consistency or with consistency that we've seen this. And even then, again, you talked about that fourth quarter. That fourth quarter was huge for what they did. 9 plays, 91 yards for the first touchdown, and then going down 4 plays, 53 yards to get the game winner. We have waited for years for a quarterback to drive the ball down the field 90 yards. Any other time, there's a punt that puts the Bears inside their own 10-yard line, forget it. Game's over.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And now there is a quarterback that has to put up with the dumbest situations on social media with
it's crazy
fans who just are never happy with what is in front of them. And it drives me nuts because it was Caleb Williams today that is the reason why the Bears won the game.
Yeah. Oh, it drives me nuts. And we're not here saying like he has not been perfect every single game. No,
he hasn't.
No, there are things you have to work on. It is what? This was game 9 with Ben Johnson. Literally game 9 with Ben Johnson. And how many times do we sit here and say like, oh, he's got to be a pocket passer. We need him in the pocket. And the pocket gets blown up so damn quick and he's escaping and keeping plays alive. To even keep those plays alive is crazy. And I do think like the Bears probably have to work on a little bit of their scramble drills because every time he escapes, like you're not seeing everyone work back to the ball. If you really watch, like, a couple guys, but like, I mean, himself too, he could probably lay off the 100-mile-per-hour fastball at times when scrambling, but like, he's keeping those plays alive and he's throwing. I mean, that throw he had to DJ Moore, I mean, that was insane in that first fourth down. But you're right, man. Like, we're witnessing a special talent at quarterback. And I just think people get so excited because they see, like, oh, the Mahomes, and they see, like, the Josh Allen and all this stuff. And it's like, I'm not saying he'll be that, but just give it time before we stop or start freaking out, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be bad games. And I think that it's this expectation that is, well, all these other teams have these quarterbacks and they don't have bad games. I mean, look what Josh Allen did today against the Dolphins. He was terrible.
Yeah.
Like, that happens in the NFL. Yeah. And for a player that is in his second year, has shown significant improvement in his second year and continues to win when it matters in the game and doesn't give up. And that's the great thing about this is Ben sees it. He starts off the locker room speeches saying, you guys just know that you're not supposed to quit. And that team does not quit. They have ice in their veins when it matters, and they get the job done. I am very excited to see Dan Wiederer every week. He'll dissect Caleb's game halfway through the week and say, he had this many superstar plays, this many standard plays, this many blah plays, and this many that vomit plays. I'm curious to see what the breakdown of that is this week, because there really weren't that many throws that made me say, what the hell is he doing? If any, today, maybe one. And it's things like that where you say it's progressing. It's moving in the right direction. He's doing what he needs to do. And for the other things that we talked about, the left tackle situation and making sure that the progressions are moving the way that they should on each of these play calls, that you're going to see, I think, more comfortability with him and more fluidness as these weeks continue, especially against these more difficult defensive opponents. And that excites me, that he's getting it all put together now and stringing pretty impressive comebacks that are building culture. Kevin Byard said it on the social media walk off the field today. If you go over to the Bears Instagram channel, he said, games like this, victories like this, comebacks like this build culture. And he's right. And it builds confidence in what this team is doing, and that they're doing it now in this stretch before it gets tougher is going to help them in those tougher games. And I'm very excited to see where it leads these next few weeks.
Dude, that's all we've asked for too. It's like, change the culture. Like look how bad it was under Matt Eberflus a year ago. Like, change the culture. And dude, they've already won 6 games. They won 5 a year ago. They have to get 2 more wins to match Ryan Poles' best season as a general manager.
How bad is that?
No, but here's the other thing, though. Schedule does get pretty damn tough. Like, I was looking at it. Pittsburgh, Minnesota, Cleveland is like the 3 winnable games. Like, you take care of those, you're gonna be 9 wins, and you'll put yourself.
That's a winning season,
and you'll put yourself in a position to have a shot. But who knows? Maybe you get Green Bay at home. I don't think they're gonna beat the Lions at home, but yeah, I mean, Philly's gonna be tough, and going at San Francisco. I don't know what San Francisco is. I don't know who's gonna be their quarterback.
It's just
going
a
there,
stadium.
Yeah, that's the thing. Going there has been hell for the Bears. So we'll see. But I mean, dude, they're on the right path. This is the type of season you want to see. Like, even if they don't make the playoffs, like right now, you already have good building blocks for the future. You know what I mean? Like, you already have progress. You're seeing progress for the future. And I think once Ben has a little more, not control, but like a little more time to go over this roster and get the guys he also wants in even more, I think things are going to start definitely falling into place.
Absolutely. And that's the exciting thing, especially knowing that they're also doing this without the full complement of
Yeah,
players that were scheduled to start on this team and make a very big impact for this team, that they're paying a lot of money to do that. That's also encouraging, that once this team does get to 100%, they do get those playmakers back, that it will get easier for this team to mesh, come together, continue to win, on top of all the players that the Bears currently don't have on their roster in future years, whether it's through the draft, whether it's through free agency. There's a lot to be excited about right
yeah,
now. And even though the Bears are winning the games that they should be winning against subpar opponents, it's good to see them do that, because it shows that they've made improvements. Again, like you said, over the culture of last year, the coaching staff of last year, and really just have a new outlook on what it means to play in the NFL.
yeah, 100%. I mean, they've you could tell the guys have really bought in on this, and they have seen what Ben Johnson's vision is. They respect him. They respect their quarterback. It was ugly at times today, but they went out in the fourth quarter. That game was winnable, and they went out and got it.
Yep, absolutely. And now, like you said, that stretch begins. 8 more games to go. The mid-season game today,
Yeah.
essentially, now that they have 17 games, and it's all weird now instead of just doing 16. So Vikings, Steelers, Eagles, Packers, the next
Tough,
4
man.
games for the Chicago Bears, and it is going to be a doozy of 4 weeks. At this point, I will be very happy if they go 2-2 over this stretch.
Yeah.
And I think that that's probably what they're telling themselves at this point, just to be a little bit more optimistic in where this team is at and what they have to work with. But I tell you, it's the optimism level is rising, which is a good thing, because when the Bears do well, the city is a little bit more electric. The fans are more electric. They're more engaged, and it's just good overall. And we got to see if they can keep things rolling. Hey, 2-2, that gets them to 8-5. That is a pretty darn good spot with 4 games to go.
Yeah, not bad spot to be at.
Not at all. And we'll be talking Bears Vikings, another noon game. This noon stretch just continues to roll on for the Chicago Bears. They got 2 more noon games before a Black Friday showdown in Philadelphia against the Eagles, which, man, I hate the fact that they're playing on a Friday afternoon. That's going to drive me nuts.
Standalone game.
But we're going to be doing Know Your Opponent with the Minnesota Vikings this week, leading up to things. And then obviously we'll be back here after the Week 11 showdown up in Minneapolis between the Bears and Vikings. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Bear Report Rapid Recap. For Zack Pearson, I'm Steven Johnson. Thanks for tuning in and listening, and we will talk to you later this week as we prepare for the 6-3 Bears to head up to the north and take on the 4-5 Minnesota Vikings. Take care.